Alex McCord, and welcome to The Real Deal on thestir.com. What did you watch on reality TV last night? Me, after having a lovely Father's Day, I turned on Bravo's Kandi's Wedding, Episode 3, also known as Episode 30 of Season 6 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, followed by Season 9, Episode 9 of How Not to Handle Art. I mean, keeping up with the Kardashians. First, let's do Kandi's Wedding. This episode begins 14 days before the wedding, and we see the countdown throughout the episode. 14 days, 13, 10. That gives it a sense of urgency. For me, the action of this whole spinoff is in two camps: the wedding details and the mama drama. Every time Kandi and Todd get together, it's pretty boring. They're sweet, they're loving, they're normal. We do see that that'll change in the upcoming teasers with the prenuptial agreement, but otherwise, the juice for the drama of this series is really between the family members, not the bridal couple, and that makes me wonder if that's why the recent Orange County and Atlanta wedding spinoffs of Tamra and Nene were not as much fun. They didn't have warring mamas. In any case, there's a little bit of, oh no, well, they got everything done in time with the wedding details, but you cannot make 6 episodes out of that storyline. It gets old. The only part of it that I really enjoyed was Rico Chappelle with the gowns. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but Rico was a contestant on Bravo's The Fashion Show, their 2-season attempt to replicate Project Runway after they lost it to Lifetime. I've met Rico in person. He's adorable. I'm so thrilled that he has a business in Atlanta. So, what else? Let's take a viewer question to lead us into the next segment. Nate Fame on Twitter said Carmen is much more animated than she was on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Is this producers? Is it her real self coming out? Editing, or all of the above? Well, Nate, personally, I was bored to tears by the catfighting between Maid of Honor Carmen and Matron of Honor Tan. It seemed to me like they were both auditioning to be housewives, didn't it? In fact, when Real Housewife of Atlanta Phaedra Parks showed up later on, I feel like she wanted to whip out her scorecard and give both the ladies a 0. I could almost hear her saying, "Child, please." Yes, Phaedra arrived as one of the bridesmaids, and that's now becoming standard issue for Bravo wedding spinoffs. It's almost a requirement that you have to have some cast members from your parent series, whether they are attendants or guests or friends of or whatever. Phaedra's suggestions for the bachelorette party were my biggest chuckle of the entire episode. She offered up chicks with dicks and little people who strip. Either way, that should be interesting. But you know what was a clever editing choice if it was that? Phaedra showed up and was refreshing. It was a nice change from the petty bridesmaids nonsense, and it made us miss Phaedra and her entire cast of Atlanta. I think that's clever. Anyway, the bridesmaids were silenced and the details were planned. Now let's move on to Mama Joyce versus Mama Sharon. Todd's mother Sharon is flying in from New York to spend some time with them before the wedding, and Todd wants to get the mamas together. Of course, Kandi's answer is no, bad idea. But do you see a pattern here? Clearly, Kandi's survival technique her whole life has been to ignore her mother, listen with half an ear, and let all the nasty comments roll off her back, kind of like one of those old men who turns his hearing aid down so he doesn't have to hear his wife. Anyway, Kandi's reaction is that of a daughter, which may work well for her, but not the rest of the world. And Kandi's biggest mistake here is insisting that everybody else deal with Mama Joyce the same way she does. Not gonna work. When Mama Joyce insults Todd's mom, he wants to get them together and make her apologize. So would I if she insulted my mom. Although, if it were my mom, we wouldn't be having this discussion because Mama Joyce would be dead. Anyway, Kandi reluctantly agrees to have both moms over for dinner, and I loved it that when Mama Joyce and the old lady gang rolled up, the music changed to edgy, clubby hip-hop. Great choice. No sooner does the family sit down to dinner than Mama Joyce starts a fight. Joyce is one of those people who has a 0 to 100 temper, and she moves so quickly she doesn't remember what she says or does, namely that she started the fight by being jealous about Sharon staying in the house. It's funny, but I was trying to figure out all week what was bugging me here. Everyone on Twitter kept suggesting to me that people should get Mama Joyce together with Aviva Drescher from New York's father, George. But it's not Daddy George that Mama Joyce reminds me of. It's Aviva. Go with me here. Both Joyce and Aviva lose their tempers lightning fast. When they get angry, both Mama Joyce and Aviva say things without thinking, and they get too close to people. They invade their space. Makes me wonder what Mama Joyce's father was like, The episode ends with Todd as Oprah, bringing the two moms together to try and work things out. So if you had to lay odds, will Mama Joyce and Mama Sharon ever be friends? Next, let's jet back over to the California coast to check in on the Kardashians, where we've got an overly manhandled Modigliani, and Chris tries to eat Bruce alive, or something like that. First, the continued castration of Bruce Jenner. Oh, poor man. I've never watched this show prior to last week, but I can certainly see why he moved out of the marital home and back to Malibu. Chris won't give this guy a break. Whether it's his haircut, what's in his refrigerator, or his relationship with his daughter Kylie, Chris cannot stay out of Bruce's business. The heartbreaking moment of the episode for me was this. We saw various attempts to get Kylie and Bruce together, including Chris's ill-conceived yoga on a cliff idea. Kylie complained and Bruce just left. After that, they tried something Bruce enjoyed, rock climbing. Now, did you notice what Chris did? Because I did. Bruce was excited about the rock climbing. While he was signing in, Chris took Kylie aside and busted her for stealing a dress from Chris's closet 4 days prior. Kylie freaked out, stormed off, leaving her father in the lurch. From where I sit, Chris did that on purpose. Maybe to get back at Bruce for leaving yoga, but we don't know whether the yoga was filmed before or after the rock climbing. Either way, it was a manipulative, sneaky move on Chris's part. Just when Bruce is about to have some fun, say something you know your 16-year-old daughter will tantrum over and ruin the day. Passive-aggressive and evil, if you ask me. I was happy to see that toward the end of the hour, Bruce gently told Chris to back off. After it was all over, I kept going back to the fact that the family are executive producers on this. Do you think Chris intentionally took a dive this episode? Was it clever and crafty to make Chris the monster, then have Bruce stand up for himself and win the day? What do you think? Next, let's talk Artgate. I do not believe for 1 millisecond that the Modigliani situation was not planned out in advance. Even the Kardashians, Philistines though they may be, would not manhandle a painting that could be worth millions like they did. On the one hand, I've seen collectors who know a painting is real do shocking things. I mean, I have seen a Degas under somebody's bed. File that under why? Because they can. However, most people treat paintings carefully. White cotton gloves so you don't get your finger oil on the frame, let alone on the surface. At the very least, you don't let your toddler touch it, your cat jump on it, you don't carry it all over the house, and you do not ship it FedEx. In the real world, Courtney and Scott would have either hired an art mover to take it to Christie's or Sotheby's, or personally escorted it. They would not bubble wrap it and go online for a pickup. Coincidentally, Modigliani was a great artist for such a real or fake debate, because there are 5 or 6 official catalogs of all his work, all by different people, including one who was jailed for fraud and forgery. Modigliani worked in lots of different genres as well: sculpture, oil, watercolor, pencil, on canvas, paper, cardboard, so it is conceivable that you could find a long-lost watercolor on cardboard. In the end, because there were modern-era chemicals in it, it was not real. But it was a nice episode storyline to have the first appraiser seem to validate it, then the second one do the big reveal. What did you expect? Did you think it was going to be real or fake? Let me know what you thought in the comments, and for fans of Marriage Boot Camp reality stars, don't worry, I will cover them this coming Friday. For now, I'm Alex McCord. You're watching The Real Deal on thestir.com. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, and I'll see you tomorrow.